I have your brain scanned and permanently backed up in case something terrible happens to you, which it's just about to.
Alright, we dug out our 7/64 drill bit, which looks to be about the right size. We're going to go ahead and get these 6 holes drilled. Haha, only kidding. Okay, have our holes drilled, ready to install the little cage on the back. Okie doke. We went and dug out of our package these little 46E-2, these little plastic bevel washers, which we're going to use. And then we are also going to find these little shock washers. There's 2 of them. And by the looks of the directions, that is going to go on the 2 upper units, which are the ones that go here. And it's hard to tell by the directions how they're really wanting to do this, but it looks to me like we're going to take a beveled screw and put the little beveled washer on there. And it looks like they're using these as little flex guards. And by the directions and the little liney, pointy little things, it looks like we're going to do this for the top 2. And when you put it on and tighten it, you're just going to tighten it up till the rubber presses on there. And I'm assuming that they're using that as some sort of a cushioning device to keep the cab from cracking. But I could be wrong, but that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to prep 2 of those little puppies, and we're going to put those on first, I guess. Need to make sure you took out all your screws that you pilfered earlier. Find the best angle of attack here. So I think I'm going to start by putting these in. Looks to me like I'm going to scratch the hell out of my body here on the inside putting these in with the wrench, so don't know. Just going to have to be careful and see how all this works out. I'm going to just start both of them before I tighten them up. Give myself a little wiggle room to play with here. Go ahead and tighten these down, I guess. The body flex is enough that I'm not scratching it up. It looks like it'd be really easy to over tighten those, so I'm going to say leave them somewhat loose. Don't tighten them all the way down yet, because as I'm looking at it, it wants to stay cocked at an angle, so it looks like there's some pressure on there. So keep them a little bit loose to start with. Let's go ahead and install the 2 on the sides next before we move to the bottom ones, because the body's kind of thin down there and I don't want it to rip or tear. I'm going to try to hold that screwdriver up off the body so that we don't scratch it. We're going to tighten those down. Make sure that it is actually capturing the brace in the back here and everything's pulling together. I'm going to tighten that one down snug. And then we'll move over to the next one on the side here. Again, I'm trying to be careful not to scratch my body. Okay, that one went in real nice. And we'll go ahead and attack the two on the bottom here. Dimples lined up really nice, so they're pretty much on the money. I'm not having to manipulate the body around to fit into the hole, so their little dimples were really accurate. Alright, we're almost done here. And as I'm looking and I'm peering down, I'm going to revisit the two screws on the top, because now they look like they're still a little bit too loose, which is good. We're going to go in and tighten them up just until we get a little bit of squish on those little rubber grommets that are in there. And I'm assuming that that's what they're for, is to offer some wiggle room in there. So we don't want to tighten them all the way down on these two top ones down here. So as I'm looking, there's a small gap, so I'm just going to tighten it up until we get a little bit of squish on that gasket. And do the same on the other side. There we go. Boy, look at that. Starting to look like something now. Damn! We're building us a truck. Yeehaw! Good, this is a pick-em-up truck with a spare tire holder. Okie dokie now. Starting to feel like a hillbilly with all this truck stuff going on. So, went and just got myself a big old wad of chaw, and we're going to put on a front bumper now. It looks like the front bumper that be sliding right on here, just like that. And according to this, it's not saying how far in or out we got to go. Oh, I love this chaw. Okay, so one more time. Ah, I hate that chew. Felt like a hillbilly. Now I'm all buzzed. So we're gonna just assume that it's gonna go on the middle one. How's that? We'll put it on the middle hole. And according to the directions, I'm gonna turn this upside down, and we're gonna use our two little screws here that have a soft portion and then thread on the top. It's just a little sleeved screw. And we're going to go ahead and put this in. Put it on our front bumper. Just like so. Gonna have to hurry up because Billy Bob on his way over. Got his coon dog with him. We're gonna go noodling. You ever been noodling? You ever seen a coon dog noodle? No, that's a sight to see. Okay. Got that on. There we go. Not that direct directions tell us to do this, but I just can't help myself. Ooh, look at that. Probably could have gone in one more on that front bumper, but we're getting closer here, guys. Look at that. Fits right on there, too. Woohoo! Don't know how it holds on there, but it fits on. Okay, so it looks like next thing we're going to address here is going to be building tires. Always fun. I'm going to build one, try to figure out how to do it right, and come back and build one, so we don't bore you building all 5 of them. I did read somewhere in here that there's a way that you tune your tires by adding weight to them. Here we go, and by trimming the foams out. However, we're just going to build it the regular way that it comes out of the box. And from there, if you decide that you want to do something different as far as tuning your tires, you may want to stop now and research this, figure out the best way for you, or build them now and go back and do it later if that's something that you choose to do. So I'm going to go dig out all my crap to build tires and get going. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. We have several different components of the tire. Probably most of you guys know this. I just like doing that. They're so squishy. First thing we're going to take a look at is when you get your tires in the kit, the foams, at least on mine, were already pre-installed. So this is what the foam looks like when it's out, and there's different densities. This is like a really light memory foam of some sort. It's pretty cool stuff. And those slip right inside the tire. On the tire, this particular tire, it doesn't have a front or a back. You can mount it on either way. And you have the hole here, and we are dealing with what we call a bead lock tire, and this is what is called the bead here. And if you just use your finger and feel underneath here, you're going to feel that that bead pops down. And if I turn the tire inside out, maybe we can see that a little better. I haven't done this yet, but it might. Yeah. You see how it's kind of sharp edged here around the edge, and it needs to seat down inside of the little groove here on the wheels. If you take a look, there's a really deep groove all the way around the wheel on the front and the back. This is the front of the wheel, which is all dressed up. The back is the part that has the webbing and the hex on there. So what we're going to do is, then we also have our bead locks, and there's 2 different ones. You have a thinner one and a thicker one. The thicker one goes on the front, and the thinner one goes on the back. You can see the difference. This one has a little bit more design to it than this one does. They're cool looking bead locks. So what we're going to do, not that you have to do this, but I just think it feels good. I'm using my thumb and my fingers here, and I'm just kind of stretching it out and getting that foam a little bit out of the way. Not that it's going to do anything, but I'm going to take the wheel and insert it inside of the tire, and we're going to want the beads to be on the outside of the tire, and as you push it through, the bead's going to be on the inside, on the one or the other, front or the back, depending on how you pushed it through. So we're going to want to go ahead and pull the tire so that the bead is on the outside on both the front and the back. We're going to start on the front here, and our objective here is to get that bead to sit down inside of that groove. And you can play with it all you want. It's up to you how you do this. I like to just kind of get it into position. If it falls in, like this one is falling in pretty darn easily, all the better to you. If not, just get it to fall in, across 2 or 3 screws holes there, and that's where we're going to start putting the bead lock on. This one, it's falling down into that groove about halfway around, so we got real lucky on that. So let me hold it up close here, and you can see how this bead, it's still sticking out a little bit, but it's about 3/4 of the way in, and you can see on this side where it's not in. You can use your fingers, you can do whatever you want, but as long as you get at this point at least half or 1/4 of the area where the bead falls in, we're going to be in good shape to put these tires on. I'm sure there's a million ways out there to do this, but this is the way I found works for me.
Do not touch the operational end of the device. Do not look directly at the operational end of the device. Do not submerge the device in liquid, even partially.